Good evening and welcome everybody to the regular Gilbert Council meeting of June 9th, 2020. It is now 6:36 p.m. Welcome everybody by TV to our public meeting. And I'll have the clerk read roll call for determination of quorum.
Councillor Robich.
Here.
Councillor Leone.
Here.
Councillor Skenzich. Here. Mayor Oberstar.
Here.
Let the record show Councillor Poulos is absent with notice. Let the record also show that Executive Administrative Clerk Paulson and Deputy Clerk Goulin are in attendance in the council chambers. And at this time, I'll ask Deputy Clerk Goulin to say who is on Zoom.
Also in attendance is Chris Mickelson, Library Director Suda Boss, Campground Directors Barb and John Routinen, Operations Director Lodiger, City Attorney Bhupesh Patni, and Ron LaFond from Stantec.
Very good, thank you. Quorum has been established. We are able to have a meeting. And now would everybody rise and help me open with the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, we have two additions to tonight's agenda. First one being quote for some plexiglass for the city hall here. That'll take care of the city COVID ID restrictions for operations over there. From Masabi Glass and Window of Hibbing for $2,490. And also we have where's that one I had from police department again? Don't have that one here. So that one got missed out of here. All right, then we have Ty, our police chief, is requesting a purchase of 2020 Honda CR5250L. And we'll discuss that at the meeting. I think approximately $2,599.03 is being quoted here. Or, well, no, it's more. What do you want here? $4,000? What's the total on this thing? $5,779?
Mayor, it's the purchase will be $5,490. The the $2,599.03, that's left in the grant. So the difference between the two is what we would be purchasing, would be the purchase price.
Well, what would we be paying the Honda total? $5,779?
The total for the purchase would be $5,490.
Okay, so that's what we're going to pass tonight. How we pay it back, that's a different story. But
correct,
we're going to agree on $5,490 for this two Larson's cycle, I guess. Those are the two items for additions to the agenda. Council, what you do? Okay to add them to the agenda?
Motion to approve agenda with additions.
Moved by Councilor Robich, supported by
I'll second.
Councilor Leone to add these two to tonight's agenda. All roll call. Yeah, we have a missing person here tonight too. Roll call votes tonight. Councilor Skenzich, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Robich.
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries 4-0. All right, we have City Council working session minutes of May 26, 2020 to approve with any corrections, additions, or deletions.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Motion by Councilor Robich, supported by Councilor Leone to approve the City Council working session minutes of May 26, 2020. Any more discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Oh, here we go again. Sorry. Roll call votes. Councilor Skinsich.
Aye.
Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Robich.
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries. May 26, 2020, regular City Council minutes. I reviewed them already with corrections, deletions, or additions. I think they're in proper order. Councilors, see any other things?
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilor Robich, supported by
I'll second it.
Councilor Leone to approve the May 26 regular City Council meeting minutes. Any more discussion? Councilors against it, how you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Leovich.
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries. All right, do we have anybody in tonight's agenda, in tonight's audience or on the phone with the public input asking to be heard by the council on any other matter other than what's on tonight's agenda? Deputy Clerk?
Mayor, we do not.
We have nobody in queue, virtual TV. We are able to we have on our TV line a phone number for residents to call in if you wish to discuss something with the council. If you wish to, please do. And you can break in anytime. I'll let you break in the action here if we need to have somebody call in here. So, and you're saying there's nobody, so we'll continue on.
Mayor,
Yes.
excuse me. We did have one citizen who informed me today she was going to be calling into the public input. So she's not on there yet, but what I handed out from Janelle Carlson is what she was going to discuss during public input. Has to do with the water meters. That's later on in the agenda, just to make you aware.
You know, I don't have that here. Okay, well, when she comes in, we'll take her. I do have that. Well, do we wait or can you speak of it, Clerk?
I think we can wait till she may dial in. We can discuss it when we get to the water meter portion of the agenda.
We got pretty long, yeah, we're not able to read 3-4 pages right now, so, all right. We'll continue on. City Council or Councilor Skinsich, anything?
Nothing at this time, no.
Councilor Leone?
Nothing at this time.
Councilor Robich?
The only thing I have to report is that the Range Rec board meeting we determined that we were going to delay the meeting that was scheduled for this month, and we will be reconvening in September.
All right. Other than what's on tonight's agenda, I just want to tell the council and the public that Go Bronson Excavating Service, located here in Gilbert, has very generously donated $15,000 to be used after much discussion with Mr. Gilbert, Lonnie, to be used towards summer help here in Gilbert, or whatever city council wishes. They like to have it specified and not just in general scope, but that's a great contribution to our city for the summer. It would be $15,000 to our summer help, which is normally around $12,000, which he said any remaining balance could be used in any other way. But let's put it towards that. And hopefully we have it on tonight's agenda, and hopefully the council will approve that tonight. So thank you, Gilbert Excavating and Lonnie Gilbert, for that fine donation. Forthcoming yet, but I'm sure it will be here. Thank you so much for contributing to Gilbert's needs. I think other than that, I think everything's going well. I know I've heard reports of a smell and a noise down at the sewer plant. I hear the word that noise is gone. There was smell there for 1 day or so. I understand that has been rectified too. So things are, all the glitches are being worked on, and hopefully we won't have any more hiccups down there. So, and I'm glad everybody's being patient with that new system down there. It is not flawless, but whatever happens, we will work our best to get done in a timely manner, so people are not their lifestyle down in that neighborhood actually is not hindered much. So we are working with every hiccup we have down there. So right now, I think things are going good. Mr. Lavon will be here later on to hopefully testify to that. And I think I ask the patience of everybody with that system down there. It's new. You can't predict everything when you engineer this thing. So things are going to come up that nobody thought of. So we will deal with them as they come. What else? COVID-19, I think we're opening up the city more and more to public buildings. And we'll be discussing other areas tonight. So we're getting closer to normal again, city-wise, and that's a good thing. So with that said, I'll move on to our meeting. City Attorney, Mr. Patani. Are you there, sir? Yeah.
Yes, no formal report in anticipation of today's meeting. Mr. Lindsay, with coordination with the city administrator, put together a city vehicle policy just so first responders and particularly the chief need to take a vehicle home. Now there's some firm policies just to aid in response time in the event that they would have to, go be on call from home and stuff. So that's in the packet, and I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but that's all I have for right now. Thank you.
Yes. Anybody on the council have anything they want to ask of Mr. Patani? All right. City Engineer John Jamnik, are you on TV there? On the computer? John? Is he there? Is he gone?
Excuse me, Mayor. It looks like Mr. Jamnik is connected, but is having some connectivity issues.
Or he left the room for a second there? Is he on? Is that picture of him right there? empty room over there? That's right here. John, are you there? Can you hear us? We'll go back to him. City Police Chief, Ty Teacher? Ty? Is Ty around? No? Hello, Ty?
Lost him?
We'll go back to him to Public Works Director Sam Lotiger.
Yes, I am here.
All right, Sam.
Moving up in the world. I'm first.
Okay, give us
The only thing I got to report is that we did turn on the water in the cemetery. We do have some little bit of landscaping up there to do, but we've been just busy mowing lawn and up at the cemetery. We got a bunch of stuff on the list to do. It's a pretty busy year. I guess the one thing that I got under my name here is portable restrooms. I believe in the packet there was a bid from A1 is the only one I got a bid from to bring us porta johns. They gave us I gotta find out if it's in here. They gave us a price, and it depends where the council wants me to put them. I know normally we have them up at the cemetery. We have them at the ball fields. We have them at both parks, and then down at the beaches, Sparta and 2 in Gilbert. So I don't know if we want to go forward with all of those or go forward with just a few of them due to this COVID and how we have to clean them 3 times a week. I know Jim talked about we would have to sign them. I think the signs are about $15 a piece, that we do clean them 3 times a week. So yeah.
Are we talking about 6 of them total?
Well, I was talking 4 for sure. 2 at the beaches. Well, 2 of them down at Gilbert Beach, handicap and a regular. I was talking about 1 at the small ball field, 1 at the big ball field, and 1 at Hopkins Park. So that would be 5 for sure that I believe we would need. If we want to do the cemetery, the other park would be Kennedy Park, and the other one is Sparta Beach. You know, those are the 3 that I was going to leave it up to the council that, you know, do we want them? Do we not?
Was Sparta Beach, do we run Sparta Beach yet? No, I don't think.
We open it up to the public. You know, it's a Gilbert Beach. We don't lock it. There's a lot of people that use it. You know, there is a lot of people that use it on these hot days. So.
Well, I recommend to the council we do it the same as we did last year, totally same. With the handicap, with the waiver, and with the same amount of portables. And with the signs put on there, just in addition this year, so.
Yeah, the signs we would put on there, I would work with A1 to see how I could hang them. But I would get those signs made kind of like what I did before up at the parks. I think those ones were about $15 a piece if I remember right, but that's what I would do. But I would also work with A1 on that, on what I could do to hang them, or if I got to put a post in the ground, or, you know, some type of thing like that.
Again, you're talking about 7 or 8 portables, same as last year, same handicap first, and same waiver, and then the signs. What is that question though? Who's service handicap restroom, are you paying 80? What's this 89 and 79? Is that total?
Well, I had him give me a price if he has to clean the restrooms, like, you know, down at the beaches and whatnot. I usually had him service them twice a week. Now, if we got to wipe them down, or if I got to have him wipe them down, you know, like on a Wednesday, it would be $79 for the handicapped ones. It would be $69 for the regular ones. So that was an extra cost if we have them wipe them down. If we get summer help, I could possibly have the summer help do first thing in the morning. They would go around, wipe all the bathrooms down on Wednesdays and Fridays. But if we have them cleaned, they would do it then.
So that's another $79 period for all of them, right?
If we have them
Not
wiped
each
down.
one.
Yep, each one.
Each one $79
Yes, it is
a month.
a month.
So that's like $500 extra then
Yeah.
for all of them for the whole month. Times 3
yeah, it
months
would-
here, 2 months.
For the whole month, it would be. He has it per month.
$500.
So that's, yeah.
And then we were gonna take them down on Labor Day, so that's 2 months that's like $1,500 extra.
Yeah, it would be roughly that.
So what would you recommend? Are you be able to spring somebody on our city crew to do that?
Well, I'm gonna try to. I'm gonna try to do our best to do it ourselves, or when we get a summer help, do it. But I mean, if I can't do it, we're gonna have to hire him to do it. So, I mean, if you just give me the authorization to do what I can to save the money, or if I have to spend it, then I do. You know.
Okay, this service, you're talking about cleaning. How about pumping out?
They would pump out Mondays and Fridays, or Mondays. You know, usually they pumped out like our ball field, the cemetery. They pumped out the Kennedy Park and Hopkins Park only once a week. But like the restrooms down at the beaches, I had them pump out twice a week just because they were so used. So they would still pump that out, and that would be that higher cost if they're pumping. But if they're just wiping it down, then it's the lower cost.
That's included in the $89 a month then?
Right, the pumping, yes.
Okay.
Yep. And then one other cost that could be, and I'll bring it up if you see towards the bottom of the page, one other cost that could go up is if the hand sanitizer stuff gets stolen. If we want them to always stock the hand sanitizer, it could be up to $8 if somebody was to steal it for the cartridge. So I was talking to Jim, maybe that's something where I could just get a hand pump thing and stock it ourselves if it's cheaper than the $8. So
why isn't that covered in the damage waiver?
it's not. That's one thing that's not covered. That's why he put it on there. He wanted to make sure we knew that. Because he's been having issues in other towns where they're just coming in and stealing the hand sanitizer.
Okay, Jim.
Mayor, I think, in looking at the CDC recommendations for portable toilets due to COVID, and also in discussion with Attorney Lindsay, if we do go forward with the summertime help can wipe them off daily. We assign them their tasks daily. They can hit all of them.
Except for Saturday and Sunday.
Yep, exactly. And we can, as Sam alluded to, we can get some small bottles of sanitizer and look at that stocking ourselves, as opposed to having A1 do it.
Yeah.
Besides when they would normally do it. So
I agree. I think I go back. Like I say, I recommend the same as last year. Handicap restrooms waiver, $8, and then we'll have our own city staff crew do the cleaning, put the signage. We'll have to add the signs on there. Add that signs on there. That's the only thing other than last year. Everything stays the same. And the signs and the cleaning you'll have to take care of, and the sanitizer. I think
That'll work.
that's my recommendation to council to approve. Again, the first satellite in all these locations has been wrong in the past. The first satellite has to be a handicap. Everything after that doesn't have to be. If you have two, then you can go to regular, but that's. Councilor Skinsich.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Councilor Skinsich, and I'll support that motion for discussion. So, moved by Councilor Skinsich, supported by the mayor to approve with A1 Services, I guess the rental of 8 units or 7 units of whatever we had last year, the same amount last year with the handicap restrooms as being the priority, with the damage waiver of $8 included, and with the purchase of the signs to be put on there, and with the city crew doing the cleaning and supplying the hand sanitizer to comply with COVID-19 regulations. Is that everything's in there?
I believe so.
Any more discussion? For the $89 per month, plus the $8, and plus the same amount as last year with the same handicap. All in favor say, Councilor Skinsich, what do you want?
Aye.
Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Robich.
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries 4-0. Okay. What, Sam, you got all that, Sam?
Yep, I do. The other thing would be seasonal hires. Just give me and Jim authorization to go out and advertise for summer hires.
Okay. How fast can you got to put it out there 1 week, 2 weeks, or then?
Well, I'm going to try to get it out for a week or a week and a half and then have them on the next council meeting. That's what I'm going to try to do. The next council meeting is what, going to be the 23rd of June.
Yeah. Yep.
So that's what I'm going to try to get done, is to try to get about a week here of advertisement up on the sign and probably once in the paper, and then see what we get and go from there.
What is
I know there's been a couple people that contacted me about summer jobs. I know one was from last year, and so if we advertise and see what we get, and go from there.
What's the legality in there? 2 weeks or any period of time you choose?
Period of time.
Anybody? Okay. All right, to get that ready for us for next time, when we have to discuss it here, again, I mentioned that we have money donated to Gilbert from Bronson Excavating of amount of $15,000 to go towards this specifically, and any balance to be used in any other manner the city wishes. So I think, why not? Let's get to, we need to approve that tonight to allow Sam and the clerk to go ahead and get it done for approval for the next meeting.
I'll make a motion to go out for advertising. And is that all you're looking for right now? It's just for advertising?
Yeah, that's all I can do until I get some recommendations for you to hire.
I'll make a motion to go out for advertising for summer help. Up to, was it 2 people? Two people.
Yes.
Support.
Motion by Councilor Skinsich, supported by Councilor Robich to approve city advertising for 2 summer help. Any more discussion? Councilor Skinsich, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Leone,
Aye.
Councilor Robich,
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries 4-0. You got that, Sam?
Yes, I do. Thank you.
Okay. One other thing I got to bring up. There is, I talked about the smell earlier down at the sewer plant. I guess you got that fixed. But down,
I don't know if we got the smell totally fixed. I think the water helped. We got a little bit of sludge in that EQ basin that I think is causing the smell. So we just got to get rid of it somehow. And we are working on that, just to let you know.
okay. And other than that, down at Lower Kansas, I know I've talked to Jim about it, maybe you. That's where Sparta, Genoa, and Fail tie in down in that area.
Yes.
There is smell reported to me constantly by one person all the time, and I'm sure the other ones are, I don't know, maybe they smell it too, but they're, please, can we look at that?
Yeah, I'll look and see if I could buy some manhole covers that don't have the holes in them, and hopefully that'll solve the problem.
Okay, I don't know if the one that ties in everything down there with the city is covered up with straw or grass. So I don't know if it would come through that one, but hopefully there's not a leak down there.
No, there wouldn't be, because it would be bubbling up, and I haven't seen nothing bubbling up or any other issues down there. So I'll take a look at it here in the next couple days.
Okay, thank you. And then again, I was at the car wash and I see our piece of property needs to be cut down there, grass-wise.
Oh, with that little garage on it?
Yeah.
I will talk to our lawnmower guy and have him go through there.
Okay. All right. Anybody else have anything with Sam and all his other little assignments? Thank you, Sam.
Yes.
I see. All right. Anybody got anything else for Sam? Okay. Is John Jamnick there yet?
Yeah, this is John. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Mr. Mayor, thank you. That was my fault. I couldn't figure this thing out, but I'm on the phone, so my video thing don't work. So sorry about that.
Okay. You're up for any talk? Tell us, give us a report, and then you can get into the meters in the high tower. Okay.
Yeah, the meter bids June 23rd. We got that advertised for our June 23rd bid date. So that's all scheduled to go. And and as far as the Lower Michigan restoration, they're just continuing to work on that, getting I know they were just doing some grading, getting ready for some blacktop down there. And then the other item is the water tower, and I think there's a memo in your package there that bids were received on May 28th. There's a wide range of bids from 5 different contractors. The low bid was Viking Painting, and with the base bid of $573 and an ad alternate of $55,000, and KLM, the engineering company, recommends that if you're going to award a contract, award it to Viking Painting as the low bidder of the base bid with the ad alternate. And I talked to Jim a little bit about actually the funding part of this thing, and I don't know, Jim, if we want to, table this and, maybe talk a little bit more with Ellers on possible funding options together maybe with when we get the meter bids?
Jim?
Yeah, we discussed this earlier. Thank you, Mayor. We discussed this earlier also with the working session, and we are looking at tabling this, the high tower refurbishment project, that we can get a clarification on the lower tank issue and
Okay.
the original proposal in relation to the original proposal from September.
Yeah, we don't
Yeah.
see the lower water tank in this proposal at all. And we had language of last year of dealing with both of these tanks. So we need to get that cleared up on what's going on there. And we're going to table this till June 23rd, John.
Okay, very good. I get it. Makes
I think
sense.
the bid can stand till the end of the month, 30 days, right?
We'll double check, but usually it's 30 or 60 days. I don't know what the contract document reads, but if it's going to be close, we could usually request a time extension for the award date too.
Well, it was June 1st, it was what we were told, and then I think we had 30 days. We got till the end of the month to award
Okay.
it. So if we award it with everything cleared up by the next meeting, June 23rd, we would do some kind of action on it.
Okay.
And we should still be legally okay to award it on June 23rd, but we need some of those questions answered.
Okay.
Here, I did send a message to Sean with KLM. Is he on, Sandra? Is Sean from KLM on?
All right.
Thank you.
Well, okay, but I believe bids are honored for at least, and they stand for 30 days. And then after that, it starts again over. So I think I need you and Jim to review that package and review past packages, languages that we've agreed to, and get those answers. Jim has the questions that we want answered ready for you, and hopefully you'll bring forward to us by the next meeting to deal with. So, okay.
All right.
On
Thank
the
you.
water towers, right?
Yep.
And
Yep,
by that
that's
time, by that time the meters too, right? So,
Yeah, we'll have meters. Actually, that was the same day as the next council meeting, so we'll have them numbers for the council meeting that night, but it'll have to be just some addition that we pass out before the meeting.
okay.
Thank you, Mayor. Is Deputy Clerk, is Janelle Carlson on at all?
No, she is not at this
Okay.
time.
And just reviewing the letter that she had given to us, Mayor, her issue appears to be, and maybe John can answer this, was there discussion of an opt-out program for citizens who did not want a RF smart meter in their home?
No, we didn't have any. What do you mean opt out? I mean that. No, I don't believe there is, Jim. I'm not maybe clear what she's asking though.
Okay, and Mayor and the council, that's what I got out of this letter. Is this particular citizen is wondering if there's an opt-out program, and if there's not, can there be an opt-out program?
Yes, a policy, the Water and Light Board could look at first and recommend to the council. There is no, I don't believe all the time I've been here, there's such a thing as an opt-out program where somebody can say no to our meters being used any of our meters, any type of our meters used for electrical data. So that is part of our system of Gilbert Water and Light. You want electricity, that's what's got to go on the house. I don't know if any policy where you can say no or not get power. I just don't understand that. Maybe an attorney can help me on that, but if you want power, this is our system, and take it or leave it, I guess. I don't know. What, Mr. Popesh, is you there? Mr. Papani? Papani?
I am. I think I would err on the side of it would have to be a policy decision by the
And I don't believe there's such a policy in writing. Not that it can't be, but I don't think there is. But how else would you, if we're going to have 800 meters, why would you have one that's not a smart meter if we're not going that way? I don't know. We would have to make some exceptions to the rule then, I guess, in policy, I guess. So, right?
I would agree with that reasoning. Yeah.
So that would have to probably be sent back, this letter, to the Water and Light Board to review and come back with a recommendation to council if there's a need for a policy change, make exceptions of this type of a request. And let's go start with them first, okay? And I'm sure even though if we did get the bids and we did purchase these meters, this issue can be dealt with at another day and time, either way. So
Sounds good,
it's not
Mayor.
going to hinder the process, I don't think.
Yeah, I will refer this citizen to the Water and Light Board.
Yes, I think that's the way to proceed. Okay, and if they decide to change policy, they need to put some kind of language together for us to adopt, I guess. Well, everybody okay with that?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to send that, if she's on board on the phone there, we're going to send that to Water and Light, and she can appear in front of them and talk about it. And maybe it'll happen, maybe it won't, we'll see. But that's the way it starts. So John, are we all done with John? So Summit Street is coming okay?
Yep,
Okay.
yep.
And do we got any kind of dollar amount for that lower alley down there? Because we're going to have that issue with water down there again. Plus that fire hydrant we need to know if it's in private property or what's the deal. We can't have that hydrant fenced in down there. If the fire truck has to go down there, we got to get that issue with Sam and Jim or somebody, get that cleared up.
Mr. Mayor, I've been down there and looked at that fire hydrant. There's just if anything, there's a little chain that's on it, and it wouldn't be any issue for the fire department just to go through that chain. I know when I was down there before too, there was an opening in front of that fire hydrant. So if there was an issue, we would be able to get in there too.
Well, why is it on private property, number one?
It must be in the right of way. That was replaced with a hydrant that was there. I replaced that hydrant roughly in 2000, let's say it was 15 or 16. And we put it in this exact location that the old fire hydrant was. So I don't know. I know at one time, I believe that was a depot over that way, and maybe that was city property. I have no clue, but it's been there for as long as I could remember.
Councilor Skansich.
I have just one question, I guess. What's the accessibility in the wintertime to that?
We try to do our best to keep it open, but I know we were out there last year and shoveled it out. I know when the fire department went around shoveling out fire hydrants, we did get that one. Because I was on the truck that we stopped at it.
Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Well, we can't have our fire hydrants fenced in. I mean, we have to research this a little bit further here and get this resolved. We can't have taking chains off and all that. There's no reason that the fire department has to do this. We got to get to the bottom of this and get this thing freed up somehow. Okay.
I know that fence was just put up probably in the 2000s sometime. I was here when the guy put it up, but I mean, that's something maybe they could look for a permit that if it was ever put up or not or what.
Well, we got this alley situation on there. There's a good chance for our city engineer to survey that area and get that property designation correct. Who owns that property? Why is that fenced on city property? Blah, blah, blah. Plus, get a solution to drainage on that alley down there. People are going to building new garages down there. We don't need water going into this new garage. And we got a couple issues down there. This fire hydrant on whose property, we don't know, and this drainage issue. So maybe, John, you can get your surveyor down there and get some legality description of property, and with our planning and zoning director, get some answers for the council on this.
Okay, yes, I will.
Okay, everybody okay with that? I'm not happy with fire hydrants being penned in. No, and if that's the only fire hydrant down there for that neighborhood too, that's not good double time. So I think you can solve two problems at the same time down there, John.
Okay.
All right. Anything else we got now for John? Councilor Rovich.
John, have you been doing any surveying up at the cemetery?
No, not up at the cemetery, no. We have not.
I was advised that there's some flags up in the proposed expansion area, and they appear to be potentially DNR markers. There's concerns that that area may be designated wetland. I think we need to do some research there as well.
Yeah, when I was up there a while, maybe a month, I noticed somebody was doing some surveying up there. I'm not sure who it was, but I wasn't aware of any wetland flags, but I can check into that, yes.
There are some stakes up there, and those are surveyed by the owner of the Summit View, Mr. Kivala. Those
That's
are
what
his.
I thought, yeah.
Those are his for his property there. He's clearing out over there, and he's put the stakes up, and because he's got plans for maybe some housing up there.
He was one of the residents questioning the flagging.
I don't. Those flags you speak of, I have not seen them, but if you're talking about the lats sticking up the green painting on the top of them, those are his. So I don't know about the other parts, but check into that. Somebody, clerk or John.
I can go take a look tomorrow too.
And Sam. Well, the wetlands on city property, again, the cemetery belongs to the city of Gilbert. So I don't know what that would be a wetland issue for us.
One other question, John. Are you aware of any grants or funding becoming available for cemetery expansions?
Not really. No, I guess there might be something, I think, maybe some related to some veteran type program. I'm not 100% sure, but I got one resource I can make a phone call to tomorrow and ask them.
Yeah, it might be a opportune time to check into that if you can see what you can find.
Okay.
Okay, anything else we need to discuss with Mr. Jamnik?
Well, the other thing, Mr. Mayor, is they should be putting curb and gutter on Summit Street up by the Holiday and getting that wrapped up in the next week or so too. So
Okay. Is
that's
there,
coming along pretty good.
do we have to talk about some, this drainage, Jim, clerk, up there of, further?
Yeah, and on north of the driveway up on Summit there, with the new road, and me and John and Sam talked about this, we want to make sure that there's not a drainage problem with the business owner to the east. So John, did you have a chance to go up there and take a look to see how much work we're going to have to do up in that area?
You talking the storage buildings?
Yeah, yep. Yeah, north of that driveway where we were, where Summit's expanding up, north of that driveway to the storage buildings.
I'm coming over that way tomorrow. I'll call, catch up with Sam, and we'll take a look at it. Okay.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay. All right, anything else, John?
Nope, that's it.
Thank you, John.
Thank you.
Chief of Police, Ty Teacher.
Good evening, Mayor, Council.
Yeah.
The first item I have is it's summertime and the Oregon cliffs have picked up exponentially. We've had more 911 calls there just in the last 2 weeks than we had all of last summer. This weekend, we actually cited some people from Utah, stated that they heard about it on YouTube, or saw it on YouTube, and on their way to the Boundary Waters area, Ely area, they stopped up here to cliff jump. So we're getting them from all over. We issued 35 citations over the weekend. I would say a majority of them were from the Cloquet, Duluth, Two Harbors areas. So we're getting a lot of kids coming up from the ages of 16 to 23, 24 seem to be the primary ages. Couple of fights reported out there, a couple of domestics. We seized a $300 cooler, Yeti cooler yesterday that was left up there. There's so many kids that we had them actually chanting at us, I'm sure due to the recent events in the Twin Cities, just sitting in the water chanting us, egging us on. It's getting very bad out there. We now are only allowing officers to go out with we're having 2 officers go out at a time just because these kids have really seemed to gain some attitudes this year. And we're seeing a few more confrontations out there. So for safety purposes, we're generally going out with 2 officers. The fence is all tore down already. I know Kevin Kleiner from the city crew has fixed the fence several times already this year, and we're not even into the heart of the season yet. So we know that there's going to be several issues. We had Lieutenant Smith work 2 days of overtime out there, and that's when he issued the 35 citations. And it's busy, and the garbage out there is absolutely atrocious. Again, it's adding up. We're having issues. The campgrounds had issues with people are coming into the campground, driving up around the barricades and parking back there, leaving garbage in the top on those back sites. We've discussed before what we can do about it out there. It's going to get worse. We spent 2 hours yesterday, myself and Officer Tricano spent 2 hours out there, just over 2 911 calls that came in there that we had to deal with stuff. So we're spending a lot of police resources out there that we shouldn't have to. And everything else is kind of being put on hold because of it. This is the time we usually start doing all of our blight and stuff. But when you write 35 citations, there's a lot of paperwork. So we're spending a lot of time in the office typing up reports. Michelle's doing all the downloading of citations, body cam video, everything else. So it has taken up a lot of police resources. I know we've discussed about trying to blast those edges off to prevent people from coming out. I know when I lived in central Minnesota, one thing that takes care of a lot of issues, however, there probably be some environmental issues, is if we hauled in 3 loads of manure, that would take care of the jumping problem, because nobody's going to walk across cow or horse manure. However, you have to be concerned about runoff, which will probably make its way towards the beach area, which will cause other issues. But we know if we did that, that would solve the problem. But that's about the best idea we can come up with, and that's probably not going to happen. So fencing, everything else isn't going to work, and we can't afford to keep paying overtime to have guys sit at the beach and deal with it. But this weekend down at the beach, there was given, I would say, between 200 and 300 people at one time between the cliffs. And Saturday morning, or I can't remember what day it was, and it was warmer, I believe it was Saturday, 70 kids out at the cliffs. We just don't have the resources to write 70 tickets. We just can't do it. So we try to pick out groups and write 1 ticket to each kid and say you can all pitch in. So I don't know what's going to solve it, but our call volume is going. We're spending a lot of time out there. So.
Well, we have a lot of signage out there.
Yes, and the signage surprisingly has survived. This is probably the second year that the signage has actually survived. Usually they're tore down and stuff, but Sam did a very nice job, and the city crew they put them on some pretty thick steel, and they just can't tear them off anymore. They're pretty well secured.
And the area is fenced off.
The area is fenced off, but the fence has been ran over now.
Signage.
There's now 3 holes even since Friday. New ones put in. So.
Signage fenced off, and what is the penalty for violation?
It's up to the judge. We write them for a misdemeanor trespass citation. The bigger groups, because we've had so many, the 35 tickets, I want to say the 35, I think we wrote 10 or 15 administrative citations, which are $35. But it's funny, these kids will be like, for $35, if I get caught once every 10 times, it's cheap entertainment. I mean, that's the attitude that we're dealing with.
Well, that's what I was getting at. Maybe that has to be increased somehow.
Yeah, and we'd have to wait till next year when we set the fine schedule in January, usually every year, and then have to have tickets reprinted too. So
can't do that till next year.
Yeah, and I don't know what the issues are going to be, because it's going to get worse as the summer goes on. As I told you 3 years ago, we had 48 thefts out there alone. They wait for kids to jump in the water. Other kids will grab the keys, run to the parking lot, hit the panic button, see which car goes off, take everything out of it, throw the keys, and take off. And we had 48 of those incidents, I believe, in 2017. So that's going to start again now too. You know, these kids jump in the water, they leave their keys on shore, obviously. And so I don't know what the answer is. I like I said, if we could put a foot of horse manure, the problem would be solved. The problem is I don't think we can do that. So.
Put horse manure in that area?
If you line that rock with a half foot of horse manure, those kids aren't going to go near it.
Well, let's look into that.
So how about that smell that might come into the campground from that area, though?
Well, there is that issue too, but yeah.
Well, other than that violation needs to be ticked up so quite some money, like $200 or $300. It used to be $200. I don't understand that. I know 20 years ago they were getting fined $200 for down there.
Yeah, and I don't know if there's a way that we can either chisel, if there's any type of hammering with mining equipment that can get back there that could even angle it off to lower it down so it's not worth jumping. There's one major spot where all the kids are hanging. If you go back there, there's probably 2 trash cans of garbage sitting there right now. There's 2 other jump spots, but they're pretty high. Only a few kids will probably jump off that. But that main one is anywhere between 8 and probably 15 to 20 feet, and that's the real popular spot. There's some way we can, if we could talk to the North community to be willing to donate some ideas as far as trying to get that edge cut off. We take care of that, our problems go away.
Ty, Sam here. Would access be helpful? Maybe getting a dozer down there, pushing up some dirt and whatnot to the edge, or making it not as nice? Or would that maybe that's a talk to the lawyer too? Would we cause issues as far as somebody getting hurt out there if we're alternating it?
Yeah, I guess that's something we have to look into. But yeah, if somehow we could keep it blocked, they're just not able to jump. Somehow, if we can make it miserable for them, it's not. And the problem is this, and I hate to say this publicly, but the reality is this: the cliffs have been there for how many years? And when it was just the locals knowing about it, the numbers were smaller. There weren't the issues. We're bringing these kids in from all over the place. We recovered a stolen vehicle, 2 years ago, stolen from St. Paul. Some kids stole a vehicle from St. Paul, came up here just to go cliff jumping. We have so much more of a population coming in there that's causing their fighting. I mean, it's causing issues. We've had reported sexual assaults out there. We've had, and that's been a couple of years, but we have a major issue out there, and it's not getting any better. And to be honest with you, I just don't have the resources to deal with it. I mean, I just can't put an officer out there. And obviously, 80-degree days. Yesterday was so humid. It was unbelievable the amount of people were out there. So,
and we're losing sight of the danger. It's dangerous to jump off those cliffs. I think.
Yep. And actually, there was a fatality down in the southeastern Minnesota Sunday. 2 kids jumped and hit the other and drowned, and they were just posting all that the sheriff's office out there is going to start issuing everybody citations. So, yeah, we're just another tragedy away. It's been 3 years since we've had a drowning, but we start having all these numbers coming. We're playing the odds.
I feel bad for all the work you guys have to put in down there, and I don't have an answer for you right now other than making it. You get violation of $200, $300. You're going to think about going there again. I'm sure that will help, but.
And the problem is too now, Genoa Pit has been picking up too. We're getting a lot of kids from Superior and Duluth really like that Genoa Pit. It's private property. I've been in contact with the owners of or I should say the manager of the property, as it's RGGS land. And it's unbelievable back there. You're more than welcome to come for an ATV ride sometime with me, and you will not believe what goes on out there. But it's a half-mile walk in, so if we can't go by ATV, I only have one officer working. He just can't take an ATV out there and deal with it. I mean, we have to have a couple on.
There's no way we can have somebody stationed there all the time.
We wrote, like I said, 35 tickets. So just in civil fines, we probably wrote a little over $800, $900 on Saturday alone in tickets. So you can look at that the citation are going to pay for the overtime, but boy, I don't know how long we can go at paying that and then burn out for the guys and having them come on their days off to go sit in the sun for 5 or 6 hours isn't.
You said you wanted a new truck, didn't you?
Yeah, well, I'm hoping for a grant.
I don't know what the answer is. I think to discourage people from going down there somehow by having a larger violation penalty is going to help, but not till next year, I hear.
Yeah, and we're trying to encourage these kids. We had a group of kids from Hermantown, and they were very respectful with us, this group, and we're like, can you put on Facebook, pass the word along that we're writing everybody? Just why waste your gas for an hour to come up here just to get us tickets? So
again, my main concern is the danger. You can die jumping off these cliffs.
Yeah, there's a couple that are pretty high, and if you fall wrong, and there's so many of them jumping that if one goes down, the other one hits each other. Yeah, there's definitely a lot of potential things to go on.
That's what my concern is, the danger, let alone the work you have to do, but the dangerous part of this whole thing.
Yeah, and you would not believe the amount of broken glass out there also, and these kids are walking on it. So so it's definitely, it's become our main headache this year, and I don't see it stopping. So especially maybe 83 days.
Well, maybe with the campground committee and Barb and John and you can get some kind of solution thought of and to bring to the council. I think they should be involved with this too a little bit. It's got to do with the campground area, so at least it's a good start to get some ideas to bring forward to us. Let alone not just saying there's no solution to it, but
yeah, there's a solution, but there's a cost to every solution. And at what point do we sit there and say, we can keep paying overtime, but it's just, I don't want to say it's counterproductive, because I think when we hit it hard a couple of years ago, we saw a difference, but it's almost like driving a boat. As soon as the wake goes out, if water fills back in, as soon as we leave, and it's
well, shoot that Balboa thing around a couple of times.
Yeah, we tried to come up with some ideas. Like I said, it was suggested with the manure thing. And it's really a great idea because it will keep them out of there, but you have so much other issues to deal with, but it would definitely solve the problem. And I'm being half silly about it and half serious. That
I understand. I hear you. Can I suggest that you and the police department, police commission, and the campground committee sit down and brainstorm some things and narrow it down to 1 or 2 or 3 really good ideas, not half a dozen, but a couple good ideas by the next meeting even. I don't want us to go too much longer into the summer here.
Yeah.
Get something to us. If you need council action on something, give us some ideas on what we need to give you to do.
Okay.
Authorized to do or whatever,
Yeah, and for right now, I'll probably still pay a little bit of overtime when we have the 80, 85 degree days. I don't want to say I'm going to pay for my officer's wages, but we're going to write 20 citations that day easily.
I hear you. Councilor Skenzich.
Well, it would be for this next summer, but is there a limit at what you could fine somebody for doing that? Or if you made a fine where it's a $500 fine if you get ticketed, it's paying for you guys to have to go out there, but if it's that popular, it may add up really, really quick.
Yeah, and one of the issues we had last year was, and I worked with Brian Lindsay on it, was he had 20 some citations that went before him at the courts. And of course, then it costs prosecution costs, and especially if a kid pleads not guilty, then you've got a lot more stuff there too. So yeah, it'd be nice. And I think you're right with the higher fine. Once some individuals really get dinged out there, it's kind of, boy, I'm not going to risk it. But a lot of that it has to be consistency from us. If we're out there only on 85 degree days or here and there, just, they know as soon as they see a squad car on it, so they're yelling. So we go up the back way and walk in, and that's their problem. Yesterday, for example, we had a first 911 call at 3 o'clock in the morning or 3 o'clock in the afternoon. Myself and Officer Tricano walked down there, so I pulled her from the Biwabic side, and wouldn't you know, we're down at the cliffs, and we get a call up at the over on 8th Avenue of a 28-year-old male tearing a house apart. So, we get away from our squad cars, and there's that issue too. So. But we'll try to come up with some ideas. And
hey, Ty, Sam here, and this maybe if John's still on the line. John, do you think we could dump a bunch of loads of riprap on top of that rock so they couldn't jump in that whole area? Get some of that 6-inch rock maybe from the mines, or like a riprap rock so that they couldn't walk on it.
Well, that's definitely some option to consider on, a lot of different options to discourage them, riprap or whatever. Yeah, I suppose we could look into something like that too.
There you go. Now we're talking. Like I say, I suggest that within the next 2 weeks, by the next meeting, you come up with some ideas for the council or just go ahead and do it. I mean, well, we want to make sure it's done right. But
I'll work with Ty on getting some prices for that.
Okay, let's find some solution. I think it can be done. I like what I'm hearing there. Put a big mound of 4 feet of dirt or they're not going to be pushing that out of the way very fast. Or maybe make it higher. Don't make it higher for them to jump off. So.
You got to jump off the dirt. No.
Well,
no, it would be a hard rock. Maybe we can get some rock from the mines, like a 6-inch or a 1 foot rock, so they can't jump, they can't walk.
Okay. I want to ask that the campground directors and the campground committee and the police department and whoever else is interested sit down and come up with some 1 or 2 specific ideas, not 10 or 12. Just narrow it down to 2 and bring it forward to the council meeting in June 23rd. Councilor Robish. Something?
I do, but Ty, I'll talk to you after about a couple of ideas that I have. I don't want to necessarily put them out for the public to hear.
Perfect, thank you.
Okay, so Ty, can you trudge along for another 2 weeks and come back and some ideas? And Sam, you work on that, and John too as well, okay?
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, anything else?
The other item, do you want to do that now?
The addition.
Okay, the addition.
You have before you a letter. It's kind of a last minute, and every year since I've been chief, it's usually the last minute with this grant because the DNR grant cycle runs July 1st through June 30th every year. So the fiscal year is a little bit different. So we have to have all of our numbers done usually by June 15th for submittal. And it's always that game of how much money do we have left and stuff. So there's approximately $2,600 left in the grant that is not going to be used for overtime and it can be used for equipment. One of the problems is that usually we'll sell an older ATV and then purchase a new one with the money for the difference. However, we just don't have the money for it. One of the things that kind of came up that we've discussed is some response issues. In regards to when we're on ATVs, whether we're on ATV patrol or our actual patrol officers on ATV dealing with calls. And it came up about looking at motorcycles and not your Harley Davidsons, just a very small 250. A couple of agencies have them with ATVs, and they found it's been safer with the officers. They don't tend to drive as fast. It's just safer because they're lighter, less chance for rollover. So the potential for any type of injury is no higher from what we've seen. But Saturday we had an incident on the Mesabi Trail. Our ATV was actually working the Gilbert end. We had on the Mesabi Trail north of Giants Ridge, and we couldn't get a squad car initially to it. So you run an ATV 50 miles an hour all the way down to get to Bilawa to get up there. So this bike would allow, if an officer has an actual motorcycle endorsement, to actually be able to go on the roadway to get to places a little bit quicker. If we have 2 officers working, one can patrol on that, hitting some of our back roads. And I'd like to take the council for a ride sometime. One thing that we want to address is, and this is no exaggeration, if you go on the backside of Enterprise Trail just in the last 2 years, there is no less than 5 full 10 or 12 yard dump truck loads of couches, refrigerators, garbage, you name it, it's out there. And that's just in a very small area. And we would like, having something like this, we would be able to hit those back roads quick. If we see something, we can stop it. We can be a little more maneuverable and getting around a lot quicker to check these hot spots where there's dumping. There's a dump on the backside there that like I said, there's got to be at least 2 full dump truck loads just in a 75 yard stretch. So
where is this?
It's on the backside of Orbegon, and if you want, would like tomorrow or Wednesday or Thursday, whatever you want, we can go for a ride back there.
On the other side?
Yep, it's where our other beaches are. The 2 other beaches or little access roads are.
20 years ago when we opened up the OHV park, we had
cleaned it. Yep.
We cleaned back there, and it took weeks to clean up back there. Now you're saying it's coming back again?
It's unbelievable. Yeah, there's one stretch. There's a 75 yard stretch that's just absolutely unbelievable. There's at least 2 full dump truck loads there, if not more.
And we're talking on city property back there. You're talking.
A part of it is, yes. Yep.
Well, we need to do something about that.
So something like this would allow us to go out and just kind of hop around and get around a few places. But yet, if they have to get back to town, they can get back to town where an ATV is a little bit more cumbersome. So, and the main reason, to be honest, it comes down to money. I would buy an ATV if I had the money. We want to try this. If after a year or 2 we don't like it, we know there'll be enough value in it that with the grant we'll be able to get an ATV with it, with the difference and stuff. It's just this year, we just didn't have the money for it. Our grant was cut a couple $1,000s. We had a fatality last year, so I would assume that we may get a little bit more money this next fiscal year for grant cycle, just because of a fatality. So
that's why I like that roll-off idea. But back there, you don't know where the who's doing that out there?
No, and when they're on ATV patrol, some of our officers will invest the household garbage. We'll dig through the garbage, look for an address or an old bill, or we found them on magazines, and that's really small stuff compared to the bed springs. There's no less than a dozen bed springs out there that I can think of.
I think your surveillance, you could put a surveillance camera out there, tied to your computer.
Yeah, and our biggest problem is the internet. I mean, trying to get the internet out there is a big push. So
No, that was all cleaned up when we opened up the OHV park.
yeah, we took cars over there and everything else, I remember.
Okay, well,
So the only catch on this whole thing is that the old ATV that we were going to trade in, they were only going to give $2,500, and we were actually taking it apart. And a guy came up to me and said, "I'll give you $3,000 for it right now." So obviously we just can't do that, but we know we can get $3,000 for it. So I'd rather put it on bid and get a little more money to make up the difference, because there's a little bit of a shortfall if we only got a $2,500 bid. The other thing is the city crews usually uses one of our ATVs for dragging the ball fields and for meter reading. Because they don't have enough vehicles, so they'll take one or two of our ATVs and go hit the. Plus, they drag the beach with it too. So I like to keep that through the summer before we sell it. So the shortfall of the money we could pull from I've talked to Administrator Paulson, and we could pull it from the forfeiture fund for the time being and replenish it when we sell that ATV.
so you're asking for to purchase $5,490 from Larson Cycle for a motorcycle?
Yes, an OHM off-highway motorcycle. Yeah.
Not an ATV, a motorcycle.
No, it's about $2,000 less than an ATV.
Okay, motorcycle.
Yeah. Yep. And we usually go through 5 seasons. However, they could not guarantee that they could even get one even this year because of the COVID-19. So.
Okay. Any more information council needs? I think we're ready to, if you're okay with the council, go ahead and purchase this for $5,490, and the clerk and Ty will figure out the other specifics on, and then probably city won't have to come with all that 5,490, but we need to say we're committed to the 5,490.
Yeah, the difference, the 2,600 is covered by the grant, and then the other, what I figured was 2,890 will come from forfeiture until we sell it, and we know we'll get 2,890 for that ATV. That won't be a problem.
Well, we have to be on the hook for the $5,490
initially, but we get reimbursed in July for this. Yep.
So we need to okay the purchase of this for $5,480 if the council wishes.
And if the second bid was $57.79 from RJ Sport in Duluth, and I called Grand Rapids and they had none available.
I'll enter a motion to approve the purchase from Larson Cycle.
I'll second it.
Motion by Councilor Robich, supported by Councilor Leone to purchase for the police department a 2020 Honda motorcycle from Larson Cycle in Cambridge, Minnesota for $5,490. Any more discussion? Councilor Robich, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Leone?
Aye.
Councilor Skinsich?
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries 4-0.
All right, thank you, Mayor, Council. That's all I have unless you have something of me.
As long as we have you here, I'm going to jump down to take-home vehicle draft with our attorney, Councilor Patney. I mean, attorney, when I mean councilor, I mean attorney, Councilor. And Ty, you're all okay with this amendment? So
yes, I've talked to Brian about it. It's a good draft for not just for me, but for any other city employee that may take one home. Right now, I do have 2 officers take home cars because we're down an officer. So the other one takes call from home when they're sleeping. They get called off. We need a second officer. But yeah, it's probably good to have a policy in place because there never has been.
I think it's a good policy. I think the council We need to vote on that. I see Ty's okay and clerks, you're okay with it?
Yep. And the realize, for the city side, I don't know how you want to work it, but the police department side, all of our cars are GPSed. So, well, if they are somewhere they shouldn't be, we'll know.
I'm okay with it. How about counselors? Counselor Ovich?
I'm fine with the policy. Did we also need to officialize the contract with the chief? Because
That'll be next meeting.
It was contingent. Oh, next meeting. Okay. Then I will enter a motion to approve the policy for home use of vehicle.
Motion by Counselor Ovich, supported by Counselor Skinsich to approve this take-home vehicle draft for basically all city employees, including more so for the police department. Any more discussion? Counselor Ovich.
Aye.
Counselor Leone.
Aye.
Counselor Skinsich. Mayor Mercer, aye. So now that that's taken care of, I think we pulled with your contract that we'll take that up at the next meeting to finalize that.
Yep.
Ty?
I'm okay with that. So there's no.
I guess we kind of we were in agreement as a council. I think it's once you say you look at it and you counter, okay, we'll finalize the next meeting.
That's fine by me.
Right?
Thank you.
Attorney Patney, correct?
Yes, that sounds good.
Oh, okay.
Wake up.
All right, that's done. Okay, Counselor. Okay, anybody else for Ty?
Nope.
Again, thanks for you and I see some new faces on a. Can you tell us a little bit about that? New faces. Do you have the new officer yet, or no? Or
hiring process kind of been put on hold because one of the COVID and the licensing, and because a lot of the skills programs did not have a spring program, they're now starting it here in June. So we're looking into August, first part of September. We're one of right now. I think last I looked, there was 74 agencies actively looking to hire.
You must have a student here. Police student. I don't see.
Sorry.
I see a new face driving around.
So we have it's usually I have her go get gas for me when she's operating her car. So she is a intern from Winona State University, and we've actually been utilizing her quite a bit. She's been doing our bait car stuff, tobacco compliance, a lot of this really good electronics. In fact, I was ran over, to give a little compliment to her, I was ran over a year and a half ago by an ATV, on felony warrants. He's been on the run since, and she was able to do some Facebook and some searching on the internet, and we actually were able to track him down in Nashwauk buying a vehicle, and we took him down there and surprised him. So she's been an asset. These young kids are so good at these electronics. It's amazing. So we've been utilizing her more than we normally use an intern. Normally they ride along and observe. We've actually been giving her some duties. So the other thing is she's been writing a lot of the citations for this trespassing too. So
I just wanted to get that out in the open because people have seen a different face than the police.
She'll be done by July 15th. So
okay. So that explains it also. People know now. So.
Yep.
Okay. Thank you, Ty. I know because we never okayed a police officer yet. So, and folks are asking questions. So, all right, Library Director Sue DeBoss.
Yes.
Are you sleeping yet or no?
No, I'm still awake. Not for long. I wanted to let you know that I've put together plans for our shields on our front counters and priced out, of course, the plexiglass, and we'll start work on that. I lost an AC today. I have no idea how old those are, but we'll be thinking about putting another one together. And our summer reading packets are together for those people who register for summer reading. It's for the family, and the people will pick up the packets and our curbside. So we have our curbside inside the front door, and that went so well last week. We'll be doing it again on Thursday, and this is for people who make requests for books or other materials, and we call them when these items have come in, or we have them and we check them out to them and let them know that they can come. Like this Thursday, it would be between 11 and 3, and they tell us when they can come. And we have sanitized, we have the table ready, everything is in a plastic bag, ready for the people. It went so well, and if they were going to be late last week or a bit late, they'd call. And as we put it on Facebook, we've got it on our website, so as people start to learn more that they can start requesting, this week it's growing more. And I hope that by next week, we'll start at least 2 days a week filling their wants and desires. Everything else is great.
Very good. Anything else? You need any action from us on anything?
I need no action.
Okay, councilors have any questions or things for Sue? Okay, thanks a lot, Sue. Thanks for doing a good job over there.
Thank you.
Campground directors, Barb and John.
Hi.
Hello.
Well, we've got, everything's going good. We've got all of our seasonal sites are filled now. And last weekend was the first weekend where we had the regular campers doing our new plan with the contactless check-in, and everything went really good for the weekend. We had a good crowd, so it went really, really smooth. And as for the campground restrictions, nothing has changed on that yet. So we'll just continue with our plan that we gave you last week or at the last meeting. We'll just continue like that. The only thing we did change is we did open up our playground now, and we do have it posted to use at their own risk that it's not sanitized. But otherwise, everything's going good. We've had, seem to have more local residents using the campground. People are, some of them are staying a little closer to home. But
You'll be getting one of these. You'll be getting one of these satellites down there, right? Restrooms?
No, we weren't planning on it because right now with our bathrooms being closed, everybody that comes has their own bathroom on board. And so we don't think we should go through the extra expense of having that because it still wouldn't help us bring in tenters. We can't do that with the bathrooms being closed. And everybody has their own bathroom when they're coming in.
Okay. Okay, have you been able to get together with your committee?
No, the committee hasn't met yet.
Mm-hmm. Well, I could officially call them to order. I'm asking the staff to send them a letter to get them to call to order to have a meeting as quickly as they can to meet you and John and come with some improvements and discussions about the campground. They need to start meeting and start.
Okay, yeah, whatever time they want to meet, yeah.
So by me calling them to order, I'm saying that Jim, you have to send them a letter and pick a date for them to, wherever they can meet, get some kind of poll between all three of them, and they could meet. Are you here? You guys are here, right, John and Barb?
Yeah, we're at the campground.
Okay.
We are keeping our office closed though, for the social distancing. It's small. So I don't know if
Can
we
meet
could
in
do
the
a Zoom meeting
evening
with them,
outside or on a campfire or something, but I'm going to call them to order. We need to get the campground to meet, get some order and structure in their committee, president, vice president, date, monthly meeting dates. I'm sure there's only 3 or weekly or whatever. The summer is very, very short, but that has to all be taken care of by the committee on how much time they want to meet. But anyway, what I'm getting at, I need them and you, both of you, to recommend some improvements for a campground for us to apply for grants for. And we have that bar engineering that we were looking for the Gilbert Sherwood Forest Campground to be a destination place for the whole country to come to. So this committee with them, with the bar engineering, with the IRRB and with you and us, I know this is just a start, but hopefully we can come with some ideas. And Jim, we had a big hearing here. 3 people showed up. Rocco, me, Mr. Shaga. For 1 hour, we had a meeting here. We had maps of where we're at now today, of ideas what to do. And it was a public meeting. It was well advertised. And that's all the interest we got right now. But hopefully that'll grow. So, Jim.
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, that the bar engineering group, we were set to meet last Thursday, and their graphic designer couldn't get the information needed, so that meeting got delayed to this Thursday. So we'll get some confirmation on that, and just like last week, let Barb and John know. And then I think they got an email from me 15 minutes later that said, sorry, it was canceled. So hopefully this Thursday at 9:30 we'll be meeting. But it'd be a WebEx meeting again. And the campground committee hasn't reached out to you guys then, Barb and John?
No, we haven't heard from anybody yet.
Okay, we'll follow up with them. We did send emails out to the 3 members, and that was last week, or since the last council meeting, and obviously they haven't reached out yet. So we'll follow up and make sure that that group gets going.
Also mentioned, I've asked them, I've called them to order that they need to start attending meetings.
Here, we'll follow
At least
make
one
sure
meeting and get the thing rolling.
Yeah, we'll have an organizational meeting, and we'll get that, make sure that gets started.
And hopefully maybe they can come to that bar meeting here.
Okay, yeah, we're available anytime. We're here 7 days a week.
And a very good job down there. And any councilors got anything? No, very good job, and hopefully you have a good summer down there. I'll be down, I'll be visiting around July, I'll be down there. I've got some friends coming up, so.
Okay, and like I said, we're just going to continue with the same restrictions, just allowing the self-contained for now since nothing has changed. We'll just continue on as is.
I trust you're on board with all these restrictions, and I'm trust everything will be fine, yep.
Okay.
Yep.
We're good.
Yep. Okay, can I excuse, I know you're not here, so I can't, but I can excuse Barb and John and Sue if she wants to go, and no, everybody else has to stay then. But if you want to leave, you can leave, okay?
All right. Thank you, Mayor.
Yep, thank you. City clerk.
Just agenda items, Mayor.
What's that?
Just agenda items.
Well, let's take up your Masabi thing right now. First of all, before that, a really easy one. Are we, I think I saw that fitness groups are able to do their thing now?
As of last Friday's governor's announcement, yes, as long as they maintain social distancing, the exercise groups can get together.
Sure. Are
So
we able to call it?
we'll be calling that group
Okay.
and telling them that they are good to go.
Okay,
The criteria is they have to maintain the social distancing and they have to have a sanitation plan in place. So we'll review with them what is needed to
okay.
get them going.
Now, please get back to them on that. Okay, then now, let's get your request for that glass barrier.
Thank you, Mayor. In addition to your agenda, which you briefly discussed at the beginning of the meeting, we have a proposal for a total of $2,490. It's for a 3/8 inch clear tempered glass at the counter in City Hall. There'd be polished edges on the exposed glass to make sure it's not a hazard. And there'd be a pass-through space at the bottom for things to go in and out. It'd be aluminum channeled at the top and bottom to keep it secure. And that would do two things for us. It was noted on a safety inspection we had a couple of years ago that it was recommended that we install that. And now with the COVID situation, it would help eliminate the requirement that we currently have for people to come to City Hall to wear masks. And so we would stay within compliance of the recommendations by the CDC by having that barrier, but the masks then would be optional for the patrons who come in. At the $2,490, we have that money in the City Hall Capital Fund, and I would recommend that the council approves this installation. We should have it installed after they're notified that the bid is accepted, should be installed within 3 to 4 weeks.
Okay, we took this up previously at our work session. I think the council was in consensus to go ahead with this. So here we are at the regular meeting. We need to take formal action. What's the council wish to do? I recommend we all go ahead and with the Wasabi, because of the urgency to get this thing done is like almost last week already, or 2 weeks ago, so or a month ago. Should have been done.
I'll make a motion to go through Masabi, and I believe Jim had said he's looking at this quote number 2 for $2,490.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councilor Skenzis, supported by Councilor Leone, to go ahead with the project of assembling this tempered glass at the City Hall desk for a cost of $2,490 by Wasabi Glass and Window and Door. Any more discussion? Councilor Skenzich.
Aye.
Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Obich.
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, and one more thing was for Jim. I got again, Gilbert has experienced a dip in electric power this past weekend, I think twice. Today I've asked Jim, or yesterday, to get a hold of Minnesota Power and to get some answers for us. Why this is happening. We met with one of our business people down on Main Street that gets really affected by this. Is something is printing out something and it stops and has to start over again. Cost is very costly, let alone like all the who knows throughout the town how it affects other people. I've never experienced the last year and a half, a little bit more often now than all the time I lived in Gilbert, the frequency of these dips. They are more frequent than ever in my time here. there is something's wrong somewhere. So hopefully Minnesota Power will get to the bottom of it. And we've asked for urgency on that. So, right, Jim?
That is correct, Mayor. Sam? Correct, Mayor. I know Sam has been in constant contact with Joe from Minnesota Power, and Joe has answered our questions relatively quickly. And I know they are on top of trying to find where these problems are stemming from. And it appears to be a variety of different things. So I don't think it's a failure of one component all the time. So it's a matter of staying on top of them and staying in constant contact.
Okay, thank you. I just want to let the public know that we have been talking with Minnesota Power. It's a feed to Gilbert. It's got nothing to do inside of Gilbert. There might be a transformer goes once in a while, and that might be a neighborhood. But the whole town, that is something to do with the feed coming into our community. And we are trying to get it worked out with Minnesota Power so it stops.
And
Okay,
Mr.
Sam?
Mayor,
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to add something. You know, one thing that the public could do for like printers, computers and stuff like that, smaller items, battery backups are a good thing. So if you get a blink like that where the power shuts down, a battery backup will keep that power on for a short period of time, like up to about a half an hour or up to 15 minutes, where they won't find out that they wouldn't get that blink and shut off. So that's where a battery backup on your computers and stuff is a big deal.
Well, let's just for example, it was a water pump, sump pump, and the dip caused it to shut off, and let's just say it had to be manually reset, or not just started up by when the power came back on. That's going to be a problem then if somebody's not home to reset that, depending on what kind of pump you have. So there are issues out there that this just needs to stop. I mean, understandable with a thunder, lightning, and storms, things will happen, but there is something mechanically wrong with this in the middle of a day, of a nice sunny day, or a nice midnight. So we need to find out and get this thing resolved. It shouldn't be happening this frequent. So we're working on it, all right? So I just want to let the public know that. Anything else for Jim by the council? I want to thank Jim again and MCTV for putting on this virtual public meeting with the phones for public input, live on channel 2 tonight. Real nice. I mean, we're very transparent to the public here, and that takes a lot of work to get it all. And our deputy clerk here, Sandra, getting it all put together on her computer over there. And everybody did a wonderful teamwork on this thing. Thank you all. Thank you all. Again, the back, nobody else for Jim. Okay, we're moving on to Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes of May 4th for the council's approval.
Motion to approve.
Support.
Motion by Councilor Robich, supported by Councilor Skenzich to approve those minutes of Planning and Zoning of May 4th. More discussion? Councilor Skenzich.
Aye.
Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Robich.
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries 4-0. And there's no recommendations on there. Except maybe there is one. Is that this one or next one?
That recommendation's on the minutes from the 18th.
Okay. To change from R4 to R1 now. property, right?
Correct.
Okay, that's the next one, Planning and Zoning Commission meeting minutes of May 18th. And then we'll take up the recommendation. Two parts.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes of May 18th by the Planning and Zoning of 2020.
I'll second.
Second by Councilor Leone for discussion. Any more discussion? Councilor Obich, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Skinsich.
Aye.
Mayor Overser, aye. Motion carries. And we have a recommendation to the council that the Planning and Zoning recommends to rezone the 5 lots along Sherwood Forest Drive North, blocks 1, lots 5 through 1, from R4 to R1. These 5 lots are currently under the Oregon PUD regulations, but that was not the original intention, is what they're saying. And they have voted 3-0 to rezone that from R4 to R1, and that's council action is to finalize that. Council want to move on that? Okay with it.
Motion.
I'll second.
To take the recommendation.
Motion by Councilor Skinsich, supported by Councilor Leone to rezone those 5 lots on Sherwood Forest Drive North from R4 to R1. Planning and Zoning Director, you care to put any input on this?
Thank you, Mayor. Yeah, with council's approval of going, we will move forward with the process, and that will involve having a public hearing and also some notification of the people in that area. But doing some research in there, the Oregon PUD was intended for the cul-de-sac lots, and these are on the outside of that cul-de-sac along Sherwood Forest. So, like I said, with council's okay, we'll hold the public hearing probably in July and look at bringing that back to council early part of August.
Well, I have to we have to remodify your motion here then. This is just a motion to go out for the hearing then.
That is
not to officially make the change. You can't make the change till after the hearing.
That is correct.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll modify my motion to be able to go out for the hearing portion for this.
To make a hearing for that, have the clerk, planning, zoning and planning, do a hearing on this. You okay with that?
Yeah, I'll second.
Okay, so our motion was to allow planning and zoning to hold a hearing on that change from R4 to R1 on these 5 lots. More discussion. Councilor Skinsich, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Robich.
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries. And Evelyn Gilbert School District Joint Powers Rec Board meeting of June 3rd, 2020.
Motion to approve.
Motion by Councilor Obich.
I'll second.
Second by Councilor Leone to approve the minutes of June 3rd of the Joint Powers Recreation Board of June 3rd. Any more discussion? Councilor Obich.
Aye.
Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Skinsich.
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries 4-0.
Mr. Chair.
Councilor Robich.
I do have one question for the administrator. Where are we at with the reopening of the city buildings? Can you give a status update, please?
Sure. City Hall is open by appointment. City Hall, let me clarify that. City Hall is open during business hours of 8 to 5 or 8 to 4:30. City Hall offices are open by appointment. The library is not ready to be opened yet by the state. My last communication with them was on June 2nd, whereas that was before Friday's announcement. So I have another call into them to see where we are with the status of the library. The wastewater treatment plant, water treatment plant, you know, if the citizens have anything down there, that once again, that's open by appointment. So we are moving ahead following CDC guidelines. And as I get a chance to look at the executive orders that come out and the rules that come out, it seems like almost daily or every other day, you know, we are opening up more and more to the public. So that's where we are at this point.
Thank you.
So the senior citizens can come in here now, or
Not at this time, not yet.
not yet? Okay. All right. Old business, wastewater treatment plant update. Do we have Mr. Ron LaFawn with us tonight?
Yes, Mayor, I am here.
Very good. You've been waiting.
Sure. There are the typical 3 items. There's a memo in the meeting packet. I will just quickly go through that. The project is nearing the tail end. It's 96% complete. Really, the only things left are grading and paving and seeding, other than the punch list also. There's no new information on the MBR process. I've spoken to Ovivo. They tell me they're developing a plan. They also have to talk with the manufacturer of the membranes. So they tell me that's coming along. And I told them we're getting more and more interested to see that, but no news on that. The mayor you mentioned earlier, the blower noise seems to have been resolved. The contractor did that work. I think it was earlier last week, and I talked with Sam, and I've been on site, and my sense is that sound is no longer carrying, it's not going beyond the property boundaries. There are some change order items that I was asking for council approval on. The first one you'll see in the table there is an additional floor drain in the MBR room. The MBRs occasionally have an upset, and it can make a mess, and another floor drain would really help the operators when they try to clean up. The other 3, the next 3 items are all contractor back charges to Ovivo. We have the city has the contract with Magni, so it's a change order for the city in this regard. But Ovivo will credit the city these costs in the final invoice. And then the last item is we had a line item for concrete restoration that I've been slowly decreasing as we've gotten through the project. So there is some work in the project that's not needed, so I put that credit in here. And so in effect, there is no net add cost for these items here. Do you have any questions, Mayor or Council, on these items, these change order items, or anything else so far?
Jim, clerk.
Thank you, Mayor. Good evening, Ron. Just a quick question on the punch list. Does your punch list include the list of items that I had sent you earlier today that I had received from staff?
Yes, those items that are on those sheets, if they aren't on it, they will be added, but those items will be part of the punch list.
Okay, thank you, Ron.
Oh, you're welcome.
So, Ron,
Mayor, go ahead. I'm sorry.
So you're asking us to approve these change orders, but no cost to us. So.
Well, it does not increase the contract amount.
No.
That's correct, Mayor.
But you are okay to do them, so. Or they're done already anyway, maybe.
Correct. Correct, Mayor. We do need the council approval.
Well, I recommend the council go ahead and approve this list that he's got here before us. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. for a negative cost of $2,000, still in a credit category. So we want to move on it. I recommend it. So
I'll second it.
I agree with, if he says it's got to be done. How about John? Is John still there? John, you're okay with that?
Yeah, I'm here. I recommend those change orders summary be approved also.
Okay, thank you. Moved by Councilor Leone, supported by Councilor Skinsich to support the approval of these change order items that we just went through. Any more discussion? Councilor Skinsich.
Aye.
Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Robich.
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries. Okay, Ron.
The last item there is just completion dates. The contract completion dates are out there fall basically, but the contractor doesn't want to be on site that long, so they're going to wrap up this summer. And outside of paving, seeding, and grading, there is the punch list. So the project's not done until that punch list is resolved, and there are a number of items, but it's pretty typical at this stage that there's a list, and they'll work their way down it.
Okay, can we, as long as we still have you there, take care of the new business Magdi Stantic invoices? Was any problems there by John or Ron? Tell us.
Oh, for the pay application, Mayor?
Well, we got 9,000 and 122,000 for Magni.
Mayor, those items that follow the memo are just supporting documents for the change order costs. There's no action you have to take on those. It's just for your information.
Okay.
Yeah, Ron, we also have the, this is Jim. We also have the facility improvement invoices, and that's what the mayor's getting to in his packet.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's the Magni, $122,189.07. Looking for my paper here. And $12,172.55 for Stantec invoice. So council, I think these are normal routine as we've been going along for the last year and a half, 2 years, whatever. And we're almost done, like you said.
Correct, Mayor.
Not too much longer, right?
No.
And John, you're okay with this too?
Yes, I'm okay with it.
Okay, so let's get this out of the way here. Approval of this Magni and Stanting invoices of $122,189.07 and $12,172.55. Councilor Robish.
Ron, can you speak to the reduction in the retainage?
Yes, I certainly can. We've been, the project typically proceeds with 5% as the retainage. As a project nears the end, it depends on the contractor and the project, but it is typical to release some retainage, as long as there aren't really, we'll say, significant outstanding issues or some sense that the contractor is a bit iffy, maybe in performance or otherwise. And my recommendation was to accept the contractor's request to go to 4%. That 313,000 that we're still withholding, that's still about 100,000 more than the remaining work. And so I personally feel comfortable that Magni will, continue to make progress. They've been around a long time. So my recommendation to the council would be to reduce that to 4%, which is in that pay app.
Is that some action we need to do there? John?
No, Mayor, it's just that if you did to vote on that pay request, it does have that 4% retainage in it. So, you know, if you felt like that was inappropriate, then I would redo the pay app. But if you approve the pay app, then essentially you're basically agreeing with me or comfortable that 4% is okay at this point in the project.
I understand. Jim, you got your light on?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's my button's sticking here. Yeah, me and John had discussed that retainage when that came in, so it looks appropriate.
John, you're okay with that?
Yeah, the only question, Mr. Mayor, that I have for Ron is, does Gilbert, the city's got a special or separate contract with Ovivo, right?
Yes, that's correct.
Is there retainage being held from Ovivo on this project? And what percent is that?
They have about 60,000 outstanding. And Jim has gotten some invoices. I've seen them, but I have said that we can't pay this until the issues are resolved with the membrane capacity.
So there is retainage on Ovivo. I think maybe that's kind of Magny's one issue, but then there's a separate contract the city has with this liner or the membrane installer.
That's correct.
Okay.
Sorry, Jim, or sorry, John.
No, I don't want to. I just want to make sure everybody understands. There's two different contracts. We have one for Magny and one for Ovivo, holding retainage on both. Ovivo's was about $1 million at the end of the day for the contract, right, Ron?
Correct.
And so 5% is about 50,000.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Okay. So we're good. So again, do we have a motion or no? Okay, not yet. Any more questions, Councilor, need to get answered?
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah.
John, you think this is all right?
Pardon me?
You're okay with this going forward?
Yes, I am. On the Magny contract, yes. The Magny pay estimate, yeah.
Okay. Do we need to state that?
Huh?
Or do we need to state that we're looking at decreasing their retainage just for Magny, not for Oviva, or what do we need to do?
No, we won't do Ovivo. That's a different. That's a separate thing. This $122,000 chops away at that 5% already.
I'll motion then. Move forward with it.
I'll second.
There's been a motion by Councilor Skenzich, supported by Councilor Leone, to approve the invoice to Magny Construction at the wastewater treatment plant of $122,188.07 for since the last pay period, and to Stantec invoice the engineering firm of $12,172.55 for the work done since the last payment. Any more discussion? Councilor Skenzich, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Leone?
Aye.
Councilor Rovich?
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries 4-0. All right, so anything else for Ron? Councilor, anybody? Ron, you okay?
Yes, I'm good, Mayor.
John, you have anything on this?
No, we're good, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
Okay. I think, Ron, I can excuse you then, okay?
All right. Thank you, Mayor. Thanks for the opportunity. Good night.
Good night. Okay. Now we get into spending money. Mr. Chris is on here from Elders on our highway 37 bond issue. Chris?
Thank you, Mayor and council members. We assisted the city with the sale of its $1,440,000 general obligation temporary water and sewer revenue bonds, what we're calling Series 2020A. And we received proposals for this bond sale, opened those proposals at 9:30 this morning. And so I've prepared a sale day report, sent it to Jim this afternoon, and I believe he has printed it off and distributed those to you here. So it would not have been included in your packet, but this would have been, I believe, distributed just prior to the meeting here tonight. So I'll quickly walk through the pages here in this report, and then happy to yield for any questions that you all may have. So if you flip to the first page, you can see this is to finance construction of various improvements to the water and sewer systems as part of the Trunk Highway 37 project in the city. And this is in anticipation of a long-term takeout loan from the Minnesota PFA, as well as grant funding from PFA and IRRB and CDBG grants as well. As part of this bond issue, the city received an updated rating from S&P, and S&P rated this temporary bond issue what they call an SP1+. And so that's actually the highest possible rating that a city can obtain on a short-term temporary bond issue. So very good to see that strong rating was attached to this bond sale. And that then leads to that next piece of information there, number of bids, 5. Anytime we see 2 or 3 bids on a competitive sale, we're pleased with that result. To receive 5 bids is a very strong result, and very, very pleased to see that occurred here this morning. The low bidder is Collier's Securities out of Minneapolis, Minnesota, and their bid was 0.5%. So you can see they're just over 50 basis points. That's 0.5%, which is a really, a very excellent result, a very incredible result, really. It speaks to just how low short-term interest rates have gotten here recently. And again, that very strong credit rating from S&P, the number of bids and that incredibly low interest rate. The high bid, so the 5th bid here was just under 2.5%. And so the difference between those, the difference between the high and the low is just over $57,000 in total interest expense that the city saves by going with this Collier's bid versus going with that high bid. Again, principal amount, $1,440,000. Underwriter's discount, that's what Collier's pays themselves for taking part in this transaction. That's $3,024. Again, that interest cost of just over 0.5%, so 0.5054%. Costs of issuance, that's Eller's advisory fee, as well as S&P's rating fee and Freiberger's bond counsel fee at $30,025. The yield to the end investors on this is even a little under 0.5%. So you can see there it's 40 basis points, and the total net P&I, $1,451,520. Under the notes section, I'll just make mention of the fact that this issue is callable or prepayable early as of July 1st, 2021. And so as the city receives funds from whether it be PFA or IRRB or CDBG, those funds as of July 1st, 2021 can be used to take out or chip away at that maturity, which comes due July 1st, 2022, so that less interest is being incurred as a result of that. The closing date, or the date that the city will receive proceeds from the sale, is July 1st, 2020. And so the formal action for you this evening would be to adopt the resolution provided by Freiberger, which would award the sale for the $1,440,000 GO temporary water and sewer revenue bond, Series 2020A. The next page that follows is the final sources and uses of funds. So this shows on the sources of fund side that $1,440,000 par amount. Under the uses, again, it's that underwriter's discount amount, the cost of issuance, and then the deposit to the project construction fund. So this actually came in $6,951 higher than what was included in the pre-sale estimate of the even $1,400,000. And that's a result of costs of issuance coming in just a little bit lower than what we had estimated in the pre-sale report. And so total proceeds ends up being just over the $1,400,000 that was estimated. It's that $1,406,951 amount. The next schedule is it's pretty simple with a temporary bond issue where there's only a single maturity. So you can see there that one and only maturity coming due July 1st, 2022. And then first interest payment here, July 1st, 2021. And again, that's the date that this would be callable or prepayable if the city were to receive funds from the various entities by that point. And then interest is semi-annually. Only two other interest payments followed, January 1st, 2022 and July 1st, 2022. And then the final attachment here is the ratings report from S&P, and that again just summarizes the city's general obligation underlying rating as well as the short-term rating that was applied to this specific sale, which again, we wrapped up here this morning at 9:30. And so with all of that covered, any questions that you have, I'd be happy to address them. Otherwise, again, the formal action would be to adopt the resolution awarding this bond sale to Colliers Securities.
You want to spell that for me?
Yep, that's Colliers.
Security?
Yep, Securities. You got it.
And that's $1,440,000?
That's correct.
Okay. Do we still have opportunity in the future or to add on to this with the same interest rate or not?
Not with this rate, no. So it would require a separate sale, although I will say that interest rates have, in the last few weeks here, we've seen they've come down to literally a record low. The Bond Buyer Index 20, which is the basket of various municipal bonds that we track to determine where muni bond interest rates are, hit a record low a couple of weeks ago, and it's stayed there. And so I will say that for the foreseeable future, I would anticipate rates being in a similar low environment, maybe not a record low environment, as there will be some fluctuations or volatility. So borrowing conditions should be favorable going forward. But in terms of adding specifically to this issue, this is set at that $1,440,000 amount.
Now this is our infrastructure city's responsibility for Highway 37, basically the Main Street underground water and sewer infrastructure. At a basics, we've, as a council, deliberated for over a year and a half now, other phases of things that should be done, like alley to alley another phase 2, which adds another $1 million because it's the same water and sewer line going underneath the main street as it is going up to the lower and upper alley, and just the same age. And they should be done at this time because of the opportunity given with the low interest rates and the opportunity that Gilbert would never have to worry about that portion for the next 80 years, other than the blacktop portion of the main street. Everything would be, I think, for the next 80 years, solvent. And almost at principal at 0.5%, but we missed that opportunity by not adding this onto the 1,440,000. Could have been 2,440,000 at 0.5%. And we have been late on our meter bids, as far as the water meter bids anyway, not the electric bid meters. They can't be put on here. They could have been on here, and our water tank of $1 million could have been on here for a big expenditure of a $3 million some dollars, $4 million, but it had a 0.5% for 20 years stretch at maybe a cost of, without any help, $17 a month, with help maybe down as low as $10 a month for 20 years. And we missed this opportunity. I'm very disappointed in that. Wow. What can we do? Can we do if we were to adopt another phase or some more projects before the year's end? We can't add to this bond, you say. We could go out for other bonds.
That's correct, Mayor. And it would depend upon the size of the bond issue. If it's in the ballpark of, say, maybe 400 to 800,000, then we would likely take what we call a limited competitive approach, where we put together a term sheet rather than a full official statement as an offering document. It would just be a more concise term sheet. It would go out to local banks and try to obtain, favorable funding that way. But that being said, there's the break point for where it's more beneficial to go the full competitive public sale is probably about 800, maybe 900,000. So anything above that, we would take the same route that we took with this approach, where it's a rating from S&P and putting together that official statement, distributing it to the broader bond market, where these bond underwriters, rather than local community banks, it's bond underwriters submitting their lowest bid.
All these projects I mentioned, people could say, oh boy, you guys are spending a lot of money. We're doing the work here. Some council is going to fix that water line out here by this alley. Some council is going to fix that street down there. Some council is going to fix that cemetery up there. Some council is going to get those meters. Some council is going to do that water tank. And it's all in, right now it's on our table. It's on our table. It's right before us right now. And we can do that. And with this interest rate of 0.5% stretched out for 20 years, it's a golden opportunity to get it done, and for cheap and affordable and doable.
And Mayor, I would add that while we are in a record low interest rate environment, this 0.5% interest rate really speaks to the short-term nature of this financing. If the city were to pursue, say, a 10-year bond issue, given the environment we're in now, that would probably be somewhere in the ballpark of 1 and maybe 3/4% thereabouts, which is still, incredibly low, record low, given where rates have been in the last, even 30, 50 years. It's gone down. But the 0.5%, that's what we're seeing on these, 1, 2, 3 year kind of, the short end of the curve. On a 10-year, it would be more in that 1.5 to 1 3/4. And if we were to go out 20 years, it might be more in the 2 1/4 kind of ballpark. But again, even in the last 4 years, I've seen the 20-year bond issues double and even more than double that. And so to be where we're at today is again, historic.
So that could change, you're saying?
Rates certainly do fluctuate, and they could go up as they've come down, and it's nearly impossible, if not completely impossible, to predict with any real accuracy when those changes occur. But they will likely fluctuate going forward, certainly.
Okay, well, we need a super majority on council, 5/4, and we haven't got it yet. But I'm still working on getting some of this stuff passed. Tonight, phase 2 will come up again. When we get the water meter bid in, and the water tank, some kind of concrete numbers. I think the water tanks are going to come to you anyway, so for bonding and maybe the water meters yet. I don't know about phase two, but hopefully. So I think we're still got work to do yet for you there. What is the time? Is there any urgency on getting some of this stuff done before anticipated interest changes?
We would work with your timeline. So again, it would, timing the market doesn't make much sense given that it's just not really possible to predict what will happen with rates. So it really comes down to project need and, political support.
Okay, so I have this 18-page resolutions, and usually resolutions need to be read out loud. I'm going to forgo everything but the last summary, and then the council can approve it. And the summary page is, I'll read that without, well, first of all, maybe I want to get a vote first and a second on that anyway, so we can plug it in, so I can plug it in. So is the council ready to okay the bond to Collier's Security at that 0.5% as stated by Ellers of $1,440,000, which is what is needed for city obligation to the basic city obligation work for the main street of Gilbert. It's basically infrastructure work throughout the city on the main street. So somebody want to move?
I'll move.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Councillor Skenzich, supported by Councillor Yoni. And for discussion and reading this resolution, Mr. Attorney, Mr. Panny, tell me any more that I need to do. Please chime in if you have to. This is a City of Gilbert, Minnesota resolution number 2020-10. A resolution authorizing the issuance, sale, and delivery of $1,440,000 general obligation temporary water and sewer revenue bonds, Series 2020A. From the guy, and there's a 17-page resolution here, I think 17 or 18. 17-page resolution here to be read. And Mr. Patney, have you had a chance to look at all this?
I have, and I think
you're okay with it?
the resolution part. Yeah, I think it's fine. You don't have to read all 17 pages.
It's fine?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. And so extract of the minutes of regular meeting of the City Council of June 9th. Pursuant to due call and notice, therefore, a regular meeting of the Council of the City of Gilbert, St. Louis County, Minnesota was duly held on June 9, 2020 at City Hall at 6:30 or 6:36 p.m. The following members were present: Councilor Robich, Councilor Skenzich, Councilor Leone, Mayor Oberstar, and the following members were absent: Councilor Pulis. Member Councilor Skenzich introduced the following resolution and it was moved by adoption by Councilor Leone. Resolution authorizing the issuance and sale and delivery of $1,440,000 general obligation temporary water and sewer revenue bond, Series 2020A. The motion for adoption, which we will do right now. Can we pass it? Councilor Skenzich. Yeah. Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Robich.
Aye.
Councilor Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries 4-0. The motion for the adoption of the foregoing resolution was duly seconded again by Councilor Leone. And upon a vote being taken thereof, the The following voted in favor thereof: Councillor Skenzich, Councillor Leone, Councillor Robich, Mayor Oberstar. And the following members voted against the same: none. Whereupon the resolution was declared duly passed and adopted 4-0. Done.
Very good. Thank you, Mayor and Council. It's been a pleasure working with you on this bond issue. And also, I would just like to thank Jim for all of his hard work on this. He's really been a pleasure to work with. His diligence has made this very easy on my end. So thank you very much for all of your hard work, Jim.
And if I didn't say, this goes to Collier Security, correct?
That's correct.
All right.
All right. Thank you, Chris.
Yeah, thank you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. All right.
Mayor?
Yes.
The last thing I have for Trunk Highway 37, I have an update from Doug, who couldn't be with us tonight, but he will be here at the next meeting via Zoom on the Gilbert bid letting. This came in today at 11:30. MnDOT had the bid letting for SP 6914-19 TH37 through Gilbert this morning. 2 contractors submitted bids. Hewlin Brothers was the apparent low bidder at $5,799,999. MnDOT's engineer estimate was $6,500,000. So it came in at a good price. At this time, I do not have the specifics on what this means for the city participation, but I will pass those details on as soon as I am notified. Please let me know if you have any follow-up questions. Sincerely, Doug. So the bid letting happened, and it came in overall a little bit lower than MnDOT estimated.
Sounds good. Very good. All right. Again, now we're into Broadway Phase 2. I'm not going to go into much detail. I think it's Phase 2 has got to do with from Broadway up to the upper alley. It goes parallel or horizontal, Main Street and the lower alley, the water and sewer, and those, I think, 6 different places throughout the town. And that's additional. And that piping is just as old as the piping underneath Main Street. And there's nothing saying we had to do any of that piping under Main Street at Gilbert, but it would be not wise of us not to do it, especially when the highway department is exposing the Main Street with the reconstruction work. And as we need to take that opportunity to get rid of that piping. It's aged, and that's a great opportunity. Plus, we were gifted with a great opportunity with a bond for paying back this thing, because we definitely don't have that kind of money, but we're stretching that out in 20 years, and it'll be passed on shortly. But we could now alley to alley, this half a block this way, half a block that way. I think involves Phase 2, and it's got a couple streets, lower Louisiana Avenue and upper Nebraska Avenue, and Cemetery, lower Cemetery, the paving in this Phase 2. So I would hope the council would go ahead and vote to get this done. It's not going to go away. Somebody's going to do it. It could be next year. Great opportunity at the interest rate at this low to get it done. And plus we have about 70% of it, or close to that, according to our clerk, that through IRRB grants and other PFA loans or grants, it's going to be without any help, between the $15 and $20 mark a month debt service for all of this stuff, including the water tanks. And it could be lower than that. We'll just dwindle it lower as help comes in. So I mean, it's, we're getting a lot of work down here for principal, almost principal, and it's not going to go away. And it'll last longer than 20 years. I know that. So all this stuff will last longer than 20 years. So it's a great improvement to the community and a great opportunity to do it. So can I get convince anybody on the council we need 4 to pass phase 2? Can I get any takers on a vote? We're going to come up again on the 1st of July.
I'll make a motion to go forward with it.
Okay, moved by Councillor.
I'll second.
It's supported by Councillor Leone to go ahead and approve phase 2, Broadway phase 2 project. Any more discussion? Councillor Skenzich, how do you vote? Councillor Leone.
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Councillor Robich.
Nay.
Motion fails 3-1. We need 4 votes. Councillor Robich votes no. Councillor Leone, Councillor Skenzich, and Mayor Oberstar votes yes. Okay, cemetery access. What's going on there? Councillor Clerk.
Mayor, from what I recall on the cemetery access, we were waiting to see what, just how much material we were going to be dealing with. And we do not have that information as of right now.
Okay, so we can just skip through there, huh?
Correct.
Has anybody, Councillor Robich, have you been able to look up there, that 1/3 option?
Yeah, I did, and I spoke with the cemetery board members, and they're pretty strongly opposed to the Alaska Avenue option because of some logistics once you reach the cemetery, where walls would potentially have to be constructed and reconstructed at a very high price, as opposed to the less direct route through Nebraska. But as the clerk stated, I just don't think we have all of the information needed at this point to make a decision. With the MnDOT project only coming to Virginia Avenue, I don't think there's going to be enough fill to really haul anything this year. So I think we have some time to look at all of the options and see what's the most appropriate.
Councillor Skenzich.
Touching on that, with what you said earlier also about some flagging being up there, we don't know what the land is either, if there's going to be an issue there, possibly, but.
Okay, so apparently the expansion and cemetery access road is kind of like in limbo. So I would ask publicly that cemetery board concentrate on the short term fix up there and get something, an idea for the council to establish in that quadrant number 4 up there, which could be for cremations. Let's get something going up there, started, some ideas. And then in conjunction with the cemetery access for the expansion of the cemetery for burials. It's a 2-part thing now. We need to do something. So let's get something concrete to get started and worked on. We're getting to a pretty quick urgent here on running out of room up there. So let's get something finalized here up in that quadrant, so we can start hopefully maybe putting columbariums up there and burials. Okay. I mean, we're running out of time in the room up there. Pretty soon we're gonna have to turn people away, maybe if they not already got their plot already, so. Utility billing clerk vacancy, clerk.
Mayor. Senior employee Taryn Greiner has applied for the vacant position of Administrative Assistant Utility Billing Clerk. Taryn has the necessary qualifications to perform the duties involved and has filled in as the interim Administrative Assistant Utility Billing Clerk since the beginning of March 2002. Council approval is requested to approve filling the vacant position with Taryn effective the next pay period, June 14th, 2020.
Okay, everybody's, we have a applicant in the internal for that position. That's Taryn Greiner. And according to the clerk, she's qualified and has been doing the work for a while already. So I recommend the council approve the hiring and filling of that position by Taryn Greiner effective June 14th.
Motion to approve.
I'll second.
Moved by Councilor Obich, supported by Councilor Leone to approve the filling of the vacant position of the water and light utility clerk position by Taryn Greiner, internal special projects employee. Any more discussion? Councilor Obich.
Aye.
Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Skinsich.
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries 4-0. She's in, okay? Anything else on that?
Just if the council would like to discuss the vacancy that is now created in the special projects administrative assistant position, or if that would like to be a subject of discussion at the next working session.
I think we discussed it at the last meeting. I think I'm going to give the council 2 weeks to think about it, and let's put it on the agenda for a vote to go out and advertise or something at that time for, or not, okay? All right, miscellaneous. Is anybody on the phone over there yet?
No, Mayor, we have nobody waiting.
We don't have Janelle Carlson on the phone? No, nobody. Okay. Any other miscellaneous items the council clerk or anybody have? Okay. Approve the payment of bills and payroll by the clerk and mayor. Need approval by the council.
Motion to approve.
Moved by Councilor Obich.
I'll
supported by
second.
Councilor Leone to approve the bills and payroll upon the proper audit by the clerk and the mayor. Any more discussion? Councilor Obich.
Aye.
Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Skinsich.
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries 4-0. We can move to adjourn. No other business.
So moved.
Moved by Councilor Obich.
Second.
Second by Councilor Leone. Councilor Obich, how do you vote?
Aye.
Councilor Leone.
Aye.
Councilor Skinsich.
Aye.
Mayor Oberstar, aye. Motion carries. We're adjourned at 9:14. Adjourned. Thanks for coming.